continuing on the metamorphic trend from the order that I'm filming in, which I just did, Sillimanite and Kyanite, we're going to continue with Staurolite and Andalusite. And if you're doing this all in order, these are the last ones on our list that I have videos for. Yay! Okay, so these two minerals are really fun, and I actually think some of the easiest ones to identify in the groupings that we have, just because they are so unique. So we'll start with Staurolite up here. I chose this one. I chose these two together because they kind of have a similar uniqueness. But Staurolite, the first thing that catches my eye is the twinning. So Staurolite is very, very commonly twinned. This brown host rock is probably a really fine-grained schist or a phyllite here, metamorphic rock. But what I'm looking at are these light brown crystals here. And you can see that I have this growth here, and then one on this side here. They're perpendicular to each other, and this is called cruciform twinning. So think about a cross. And this is a super common in Staurolite. Honestly, the majority of the time, I don't even think I've ever seen one that's singular. It just doesn't happen very often. I'm not exactly sure why. Something probably with nucleation, but just seeing them twinned is just really, really common. I can see it here on this one. They're not always this perfect perpendicular twin, but we do have this one here as well. Even looking at this one, these are all, also you'll notice there's kind of this like micaceous shininess that's on top of all of them. That's likely because they came from a schist, since these are metamorphic. But I've got this one here and this one here. So two intergrown crystals because they are twinned, and they all have this really common like pseudo-hexagonal pattern here. Staurolite is actually a monoclinic mineral, so it's not really hexagonal. Definitely pay attention to that, but we can see some nice crystal faces here as well, and this kind of like tabular form on the end. This is looking down the c-axis, and then like this is looking down the c-axis. But look at that little cross, so cute. So stinking cute. Let's look at this one. Yay, another one. Once again, we're in a little bit of this schisty material here, so don't mind that. But we've got that really nice cruciform twin. We don't have a lot of really clean samples of these, but honestly, the twinning is a dead giveaway. Otherwise, they have, you know, a generally earthy to vitreous luster. Their hardness is, they're quite hard. I have them at about a 7.5, so they should be able to scratch glass. Let's give it a go. Well, gosh darn it. Gee dang it. Look at that scratch. If I can get it in focus. Woo. You can see it. There you go. So pretty darn hard, easily scratches glass. I tend to see these darker colors a lot more often, but that could just be like from where I'm at in the country. Darker Staurolites are more common. These are really quite light, so they can range in a bunch of colors, but what is common is that they're always earthy tones. Really bright colors like reds and greens, just not common with Staurolite. We expect them to be these earthy tones, twinned, earthy to vitreous luster, really hard, and density is difficult to do with these. It's also an aluminosilicate mineral, so in general I would say this is low density, low to low moderate density. And I think that's pretty much it. So cleavage for these also, as you can probably tell, you know, it might have some cleavage, but it's certainly difficult for me to see and would not be something that would be useful as a diagnostic property. And let's move on to Andalusite. So Andalusite here, much like how the twinning makes it very obvious that this is Staurolite, Andalusite has not twinning going on, but a weird crystal intergrowth. Now this mineral has been shaped and polished. This is not a crystal face here. I'm pretty sure someone cut these, polished them down to be this weird eye shape. Now actually looking at it, it's a little bit creepy, but what I want you to see is this cross pattern in this as well. But looking really closely, this black that's making a cross is not actually my mineral, and I'll tell you that it's actually graphite. And during this crystal growth pattern, and you know, I think someone actually has Andalusite for their mineral. Maybe I'm giving stuff away, but this pattern intergrowth here is actually graphite, just from the way that it's growing. And then lots of times there's also this center portion here. So the Andalusite that we're actually looking at is this kind of pink, fleshy toned mineral on the inside with lots of these fractures. It's quite brittle lots of the times. Even if we look at this one here, we can see the same black cross here. So this variety of Andalusite, which is really common with this graphite cross in the center, is called chiastolite, spelt with a CH at the front because, you know, geologists. But so this color combination of this kind of fleshy toned color, really earthy tones, cut by this cross of graphite is just really common. And when we look at this sample here, which this shows what the sample would actually look like if we were to pop it out of a metamorphic rock or something like that, I could still see the cross really, really easily. Even if this was really small in like a microscope, I would likely see the cross as well. But it has a vitreous to earthy luster. This one I think is a little bit weathered. Poor cleavage. Cleavage is just not something that we can usually see in this sample to use. These are obviously also not very gemmy, right? They're not transparent. This one is a little bit, but also it's nicely polished, so difficult to tell. But then Andalusite is a little bit softer than Staurolite, usually at about a 6.5 or a 7, so it still should scratch glass. Let's give it a go. There you go. Nice big scratch. So it's pretty darn hard. And I think this is orthorhombic. I think it said that. But other than that, I think that's Staurolite and Andalusite. These two are just, to me, I grouped them because they're unique and easy to spot. I think this cross is really easy to see in a lot of the samples. And then this cross, likewise, one is a twin and one is not. But I think they're kind of unique ones out of the bunch of the silicates that we've covered and are easier to distinguish. So Staurolite and Andalusite.